Well, the team at Square Enix have done it again. With this year's Easter event, they've added a new ultimate level fight to Final Fantasy XIV, and it's much harder than the previous ones. But I, as a legendary world-first raider, have done the time to put together this guide so that you too can get your clear. So chances are you already know what I'm talking about. The Don't Be Sylphish Fate event, which is required in order to get the Hatching Tide rewards. I've seen a lot of people struggling with this one, so hopefully this guide will help everyone get their clears before the event ends. This is going to take you a long time to prog, so let's jump right in and get learning so you can get back to it. Alright, first things first, you'll want to establish light parties and then clock positions. Because there are no positionals, we'll put melees in the front corners and ranged in the back. We'll also be using corner pairs here, standard Nisi swapping prio, and the limited mitigatory autosynchronous oscillation strat for mid planning. This fight is going to have 3 major mechanics all happening at once, and all of them are extremely precise and must be executed flawlessly. You'll want to start a 21-second countdown and be prepared to pot around 5 seconds for opening burst. The fight kicks off with a short grace period before throwing out all 3 mechanics simultaneously, so we're going to break them down one by one so that we can understand what's happening here. First of all, you'll notice several large piles of Archon eggs scattered around the arena. All eggs in this fight will be handled by tanks and healers exclusively. Tanks will handle eggs closest to the north or south, and healers will get the east and west. This ensures that no egg is left behind and keeps you out of each other's way. However, this priority order only applies to the downtime phase in between lasers, which we'll discuss later. And yes, for those wondering, you can Wooks Walk here, and it's not only encouraged, but pretty much required. Meanwhile, DPS players will be using a similar prio system to handle the swarm of adds. Each DPS will use their scare action to take out adds closest to their clock positions, but remember that it has a long cast time and a long animation lock, so try not to suck as much as the average Dragoon player and plan for these accordingly. You can slide cast attacks to snapshot the damage with the server ticks and weave your movement between GCDs to maximize uptime while avoiding clipping and staying out of the AoEs. And boy are there ever AoEs. You see, each ad will be trying to catch you with stun AoEs at all times, which is why DPS are taking them out. The more you get stunned, the less ads you disable, and thus the more everyone else gets stunned. Greeting here can cost you heavily, so I'd advise playing it slightly safe unless your party is struggling with a DPS check. Furthermore, if any dynamic adjustments must needs be executed amidst the pre-established reciprocity, we'll defer post-haste to the self-same methodology deployed prominently in association with Gorgon priority from Pandemonium 8 Savage. This will thusly safeguard our operators from redundancy throughout the engagement. Failure to consummate this procedure is an emblematic indication of a proficiency predicament. The third and final and most important mechanic is a laser beam cast from the boss that will rotate around the arena either clockwise or counterclockwise. It's basically a decentralized Akmorn with reverse Pineax interspersed with light ramp and Shiva twisters, and therefore we call it Limit Cut. To solve this, we're going to treat it like Pantocrator from the Omega Protocol Ultimate. Since there's only one laser, we can technically have the full party on one side, but in order to declutter things, we're going to split into light parties here. Party 1 will be following behind the laser beam, and Party 2 will be in front of it. Each group should be directly opposite each other to ensure enough space for the other to avoid the baited AoEs. Remember to keep the groups tightly stacked and move in unison in order to put as many AoEs as possible in one spot, thus leaving room to avoid them as you move with the laser. Once the Sylph AoEs start going out, each group will move in a circular motion with the laser. You're going to move just outside of the first AoE and pause to bait the next one. DPS will have time on each pause to cast a single scare spell, pushing back the nearby Sylphs. Meanwhile, tanks and healers should still be collecting eggs on these same pauses. Tanks will get the near eggs and healers will split off from the group to get far ones. If anyone takes an AoE or laser beam and gets stunned, there's no choice but to leave them behind because they'll only slow you down anyway. You should also remove them from the party, block them, blacklist them, and report for harassment. If you manage to pull all of this off for a minute or so, you should have collected enough eggs for everyone to turn them in and finish the fate. Once the progress bar is full, all you have to do is survive until the completion timer runs out. In order to do this, you'll want to employ the same strategies as before, but don't be afraid to play cautiously since you're now in the home stretch. If you make it all the way to the end without dying, congratulations! Fate event complete. You'll be given a couple of Archon eggs as a reward, which you can take to buy the ultimate reward. Papaya! The 8-bit version. This is pretty hard content, and it takes a long time to work out these strategies while world progging, so be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment words of affirmation below, because as an influencer, likes and comments are the reason I get out of bed in the morning. That and the papaya song. 1 like equals 1 papaya. Okay, bye.